Am I starting this time?
You're going.
Julie says I'm starting this time. Welcome back. Last time we started talking about who Julie was before she met the petitioner. I
Yes.
like calling him the petitioner.
Yeah, he's the one that did this. He petitioned for it, not me.
I mean, it's nicer than he who must not be named.
Yes, I agree.
So before you met the petitioner, um, and we got sidetracked a little bit, but I want to go back and talk about where you were. I mean, we talked about how you were graduated
Hmm.
and you had your house, your car, 5 jobs that you were working. What jobs were they?
Yeah, I was teaching at two different dance studios, Thompson Lane Entertainment and Prodigy Dance Studio. I was also cleaning those dance studios at one point. I was teaching aerobics, like full blown old school. You guys know my favorite is step aerobics from the 90s. I was teaching that at the sports mall, and I was teaching lift classes and spinning classes. I had certified with the American Association of, or Association of American, I can't remember what it's, the AFA Fitness Association. I was working at my dad's law firm. I was a foreclosure like technician, so I would go around and I would post notice of sales on people's doors.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and then there were some scary moments when people get mad at you. I guess it was just preparing me for 8 kids getting mad at me and getting in trouble in court and all those things. But and then I also cleaned my dad's law firm and was working inside the law firm. Maybe that was all a precursor to getting into law. Who would have thought? I had no interest in law whatsoever, but I was driven. I was ambitious. I served a mission. I spoke Spanish. I was working at the Perpetual Education Fund with the Church of Jesus Christ.
What did you do there?
I I would call students in Latin American countries.
Oh, because you spoke Spanish.
Yeah, and I would help them out with, because the Perpetual Education Fund is where they get like a loan from the church, and it was
Uh-huh.
like paying it back super slowly and at a
Hmm.
very small amount of money. So I was calling them to see if they, had made payments, and I was offering service and going to the temple a lot. And I like to think that I was ambitious and I had dreams. I wanted to still be a dancer and uh, just like make Heavenly Father proud. I really have always wanted to make him proud with being as successful as I could as a return missionary. And then I started going to it wasn't even singles ward. They called it the university wards.
You didn't have to be in school at the time.
No, I don't think you
Okay.
did. No, because he wasn't in school.
That's true. Yeah, let's clarify. How much older is the petitioner than you are?
11 years. And to his credit, no one ever thought it or knew it because his skin was amazing. That melanin, and the pigment is
I think the
different than
only
ours.
thing gives him away a little bit is that he has white in his beard now.
Yeah, now he does. Uh-huh. Yeah, that. And but back then when I met him, he was 34. Um and straight from England. I mean, maybe he had been in the country 5 or 6 years. And we were in the same ward at the University of Utah. So it was held at the Institute building, which was, he's mentioned was his favorite place to be. It was a place where he felt safe. And now looking back, I think it was a place of security and family for him. And so we met in the same singles ward, basically, but it was a ward of about 500 people.
That's
Everybody, yeah,
huge.
yeah. We ended up
Wow.
not he didn't. My bishop didn't get in trouble, but he ended up like having to. It looks like we're on a diagonal a little bit, but oh well. If you're watching, we're on kind of a little diagonal. But he ended up having to tell half of the ward, like, sorry, you're not in the boundaries, you can't come, because he was just letting anybody come to the ward.
Sure.
So it was a fun ward. He didn't. I like to think he didn't know who I was because there were 500 people,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the one black person in the ward, the one singer,
Everybody
knew who he was. He was English. He was charming. He was a lot of fun. He was vibrant, and just added like a new dynamic and a new dimension to the whole ward. He did and does wherever he goes. It's a great thing about him, and it's what drew me to him. Was his energy and his love for Jesus, his love for the gospel and for the church, and for what I thought were his relationships with people. I thought that he wanted the same things that I did, and I believe that he did. I think that he did. But
you started out on that note
yeah,
with
that
that
was the
belief.
goal.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make a baby on your own. So he was clearly on
Let
board
alone
for
8.
all the kids. Yeah. And for a temple marriage, I do remember him being so excited because, and I'm going too far ahead, but when we got engaged and again, did we talk about how he had proposed 3 times before? We did on the
Yeah.
last one.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
So that was kind of weird. And
How long had you been dating when you proposed? I guess
I
we can get
think
there
it had
later.
been a year, but it was like off and on
Okay.
because we broke. Well, again, he dumped me twice, and the third time was when we finally. But like even those, I was like, what am I doing? I remember saying to him, can you see yourself with me 5 years from now? And he said no. And I at least had enough dignity for myself to be like, well, then I'm gone. I'm out of here. And I did. And I kept saying to myself as I walked away, don't turn back. Don't look back at him. Don't pine after him. Don't make puppy eyes. Don't even give him the satisfaction of thinking like, are you sure? Well, but please. I didn't. I was like, and I feel so good about that. I was strong and confident, and I left and didn't talk to him for 4 months until he wrote me a letter, which I think is the only letter I've ever received in the mail from him.
He even sent it in the
He
mail.
even sent it in the mail,
Wow.
yes. And he was like, I'm sorry, I should have gone on the trip with you. I should have, it was amazing. It was apologetic and he was remorseful. Um, but again, he dumped me twice and I should have just been like, I needed a girlfriend to say, he's just not that into you. Like, get over it and
It's
move
not a
on.
whole movie, a book, something.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's both. So, but I remember when we did get engaged, Elder Elton Perry is in my family. My dad set him up with his second wife. And so he married all of my siblings.
That's cool.
And so, of course, he did it for me. And I remember telling the petitioner, I was like, hey, Elder Perry has agreed to marry us. And he about like lost it, flew off of his chair, was so excited, was like so like more thrilled about being married by an apostle than actually being married at all.
Yeah, for those who are not LDS, it is not common to be married by an apostle.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
I mean, he was so happy that I remember even questioning then, like, dude. Okay, so here's a backstory. There's a couple stories that I wanted to share. They're short, but I would want my children to know this because I didn't see it then. This is just a small example, but for those that don't know how we met, we were in the same ward, but we met dancing at Trolley Square, and there's many people in Utah that used to go dance at Studio 600 and at Trolley Square downtown, and they had country
Isn't that a
swing.
pretty sketchy place now?
Yeah, I think it was back then too. There were a whole bunch of singles that would go and do country swing Tuesdays and Thursday nights, but at midnight they would play hip hop, and that was my jam. So I would go and pay my $6 and go and dance for the hip hop hour. And that is where we really met. He saw me dancing and he came up to me, and I remember him putting both of his hands on my face and he said, aren't you in my ward? And I said, yeah, I am. And we started dancing and it was so fun. And he was a great dancer. Again, he's a great performer, great singer, great dancer, great coordination, and just like naturally gifted, naturally athletic, naturally
He is a really good
coordinated.
performer.
Yeah, he sweats. And it's because he's working hard. He's working hard on stage. He's really interactive with the audience. He engages people. He's really good at what he does. But he was sweating a lot. And this was my first interaction with him. And it was like dripping all over me. And it didn't bother me. Like I wasn't necessarily grossed out because I couldn't control the sweating, unless you stop the magic moment where we're dancing together and he gets up and like ruins the moment and goes to get a towel or something. So I never held it against him, but I remember thinking to myself that never did he say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, this is so gross. It never, like the thought of that consideration for me never came. And I look back at that and I'm like, it was just kind of one of those things that I realized I don't think he ever felt like he needed to or should have. It was almost like beneath him, right? Or
nobody pointed it out to him ever.
I'm sure they did, but he would never apologize, at least for it. To me, never did anyway. And then another experience is when we got engaged. Well, the day before I got engaged, he said, we're going to go to Lakai tomorrow night.
Which is a really nice restaurant.
Yes, I'm glad you're bringing these things in. It was like the first time I was ever going to go to Lakai, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a 5-star uh, restaurant, and people get married there, and there's receptions there, and a 5-course meal, and people go there for prom. And I was like, oh my gosh. He's like, so make sure you wear something nice. I was like, okay. So I went to work. Oh, I didn't even mention where else I was working. I was a full-time account manager at Registered Physical Therapy. So I was an accountant for RPT, where I handled their billing and their claims and everything. Forgot about that job. And that was the full-time one. And I was there at 6:30 in the morning. Like I was, and then I'd go to my next job, at 2. So he comes in the day that we're supposed to go to Lakai and proposes at RPT. And so
weird.
I'm at work, and he comes in with the guitarist, and he comes in with Robin Seville, who is a dear friend who recorded it, and they put it on Bride Access at the time, or maybe it was Utah Brides. It used to be a show, and he's singing a song that he wrote for me. I almost can't even remember the name of it, but it's one of his songs that he wrote specifically for me, at least I think. Now I don't know anymore. That's what he said. And proposed to me. And I was so excited, and the coworkers are all laughing. Have I told you this story?
No.
And puts the ring on, and I hug him, and everyone's cheering. It's all for the camera, right? And the camera shuts off. And I was like, well, let's go. Like, I wanted to leave for the day. I wasn't going to sit and work after he had just proposed and be like, okay, bye, and continue to type away. I'm like, well, let's go. He's like, no, you can stay at work. I was like,
let's celebrate.
Well, yeah, let's celebrate. Aren't we going to Lakai? And he's like, no, we're not going to Lakai. I just said that to you so you would look nice for this video.
For the
recording."
cameras?
Yes. And
no,
I wasn't even mad.
Julie, I didn't see that coming.
I know. I didn't either.
What?
I just remember thinking, oh, I wanted to go and eat.
You were looking
so
forward
bad.
to that.
I was. But my plan was just to go home and change. It wasn't to like be dressed up, ready to go to Lakai right after work. And I didn't, obviously didn't know he was coming in to surprise me, but I was like, he's like, no. And he left. And I just sat at work and was like,
So
I felt
sad.
so dumb. I was just like, and there I was back at my computer with this ring on my finger. But I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's just another thing. When I look back, I'm like, it wasn't that it was a lie, but it was a little bit of manipulation.
And performative.
Yes.
There's a lot of performative things that happen.
And I 18 years later, I'm like, oh my heck, I got punked even from the beginning. I was like, and honestly, for everybody listening, I just wanted the food.
Julie does love food.
I do. I'm a huge foodie, but that's another podcast. So anyway, those were some little things that I let go that were not the make or break. But now looking back, there were hundreds of those experiences. The sweating is just stupid and little, and I can forgive it. And the fact that, he was never, okay, he didn't know East from West. And I understand, like, it's easy for us here in Utah. East, it rises in the east and sets in the west. And if I go anywhere else, I won't know east from west.
Well, and we know where the mountains are.
Yeah, it's easy. And I remember when I was, because of course we went dancing again the next week, because we had these magical sparks flying, while I was dripping in his sweat.
That's so gross.
And I'm like, I'm here. This is before, maps and before being able to check someone's location.
Oh, GPS.
Way before all of this.
You're in like MapQuest age.
Yes. But I'm like, I text him, I'm like, I'm here. He's like, where? And I said, on the east side. And so I'm waiting at the east side for 15 minutes and he never shows up. And I'm like, where is he? And finally, when he sees me, he criticized me, not mean. He was just like, what the heck? I don't know. Why are you giving me all this east stuff? I don't know where East is. And you said East speakers, like, come on, just tell me. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I was
How
on the
else
East.
are you supposed to tell him?
But again, he wasn't like, I'm so sorry. Like, I should have asked, or because it was as though it was beneath him. And
it was your fault.
And he was almost offended that I would use something that was irrational, So there were things like that all the time. And he never did learn East from West, but wasn't willing to. Wasn't
it's the blame game that's hard for me. It's the unwillingness. But I keep thinking. So I have two teenage daughters right now, and I was just telling the 15-year-old has a boy that she likes that has been
mm,
around a lot, and I was talking to her about this boy has things that I really like about him. But one thing I pointed out to her was he called her this weekend to make plans for Friday and Saturday. The short story is he chose his family over her, and I said I'm so glad. I'm so glad that he chose his family. He should. I'm glad that he has a relationship with his family like that. All of these things, and I was talking about my how my oldest has. She had two boys in high school. She's now in college, but in high school there are these two boys that we learned a lot from. And one of them would ask her to do stuff and she would tell him no. And do you know what he did?
mm,
He would text me and ask me if she could hang out, as though like trying to like catch her in a lie or manipulate the situation or whatever. Like she couldn't just take no for an answer. The boy that my
did you get out that red flag and just
well,
like
and this is my point is when my oldest had these experiences with boys, we're able to notice them and say, this is manipulative. This is, this one boy wanted her attention all the freaking time.
mm,
And she was like, I got other stuff to do.
yeah,
He would get mad when she didn't text back fast and all of these things, right? And so now with my second, I'm learning from my first and saying, do you see this? This boy I like because he's not
mhm.
doing these things, right? But if you don't have these, when we're talking about
These
protecting
experiences,
kids
yeah.
and teaching our kids and we need to talk to our kids about these things because you didn't know these were red flags,
No, I
right?
didn't. And
You have to talk to other people in order to hear these stories and be able to hear them for what they are and then point them out in your own life or in your kids' lives. Like this is important stuff.
I mean, my sister was on a date with a guy who said that he had gone to the temple and received, his own answers that she was to be his wife.
Oh,
And she was like,
please.
like, bye, Felicia. I am out of here because I didn't, and it's this. I mean, that one was more like drastic and
And
like,
obvious.
yeah.
My favorite was the BYU. I had a girl in one of my classes that was telling me she went on, it was either her first or second date with a boy, and like the typical date was go and hold hands and walk around the temple on a
Oh,
date, like get ice cream and then go walk around the temple. And they're walking around the temple and he proposed to her. And my favorite was the line that she told me. She was like, dude, you don't even know my last name.
oh my
But
gosh.
I mean, it's true. Some of these things you're like, they can
Ugh.
just manipulate and say all the nice words. And if you're a girl who hasn't dated a lot, who's not used to hearing nice things, you might fall for it.
Yeah.
But these are we joke, but these have happened.
Yeah. And it's funny because now I tell Adana, I'm like, Adana, that's a red flag. Take it from me. Like I didn't see it then, but I see it now. You don't be me. And that's so sad because I don't want to like rip on myself or make it look like the marriage was all for naught because I have these 8 kids, but like at the same time, I was unaware. And even I think people around me were unaware of who he is and the way he charms people. And I got charmed. And and again, I want to believe that it was he was good at his is good at his core and did want the same things I did, but I just didn't see or realize that the flags were as red as they were. And even if I did, I probably still would have moved forward because I grew up in a home and in a culture that is you forgive and you forget. You turn the other cheek. If you're offended, you chose to be offended. If you're insulted, well, repent or forgive. Um, we don't judge people. You don't judge someone for how poor they are or for a mistake that they might have made. And I was willing to do that to the death and to my detriment was, oh, that doesn't matter if you can't
I
drive.
think
Oh,
okay, this is something that how we're 20 minutes. I think
mm.
we need a whole nother episode about judging. I think
Oh
that
yeah.
I think that
Carly
we
has
have to
taught me a lot about judging because we are, sorry, I interrupted you. You're
no,
right.
no,
Like
I
it's,
just think that it's important that we talk about it because I think what you're saying is we believe in forgiveness, we believe in repentance endlessly,
mm,
right? The only perfect person is the Savior, and we are not Him. And so, and I think as women of faith, as just decent human beings, you can look at Him and say, you had a crap upbringing, you had
yeah,
crap family,
yeah,
like, of course you have sympathy and empathy. And I think there's part of us that really want to believe that we can change somebody.
Yeah.
We can be the inspiration or the example or the reason or whatever. And the truth is, we cannot.
No. And
That's the Savior's job, it's not ours.
and I remember my parents, to give my parents credit in their defense, because some people would think that they're racist and whatever, but they always taught us as kids to, be selfish while you date, but then when you are married, you're selfless, and do not marry someone or date someone because you think that you can help them.
Right. And by selfish, when you date, it means like
Yeah.
I used to tell when I worked in young women's, I would tell the young women, this is like, it should be the most selfish time of your life, meaning educate the crap out of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You go as high and as far and as fast as you can. You pretend like you'll never be married so that you don't have to be, so that when it comes, it's a blessing,
Right.
but you're not waiting on anybody. It's like, I would tell them, like, you grow in as many ways as you can.
Yeah.
Go on a mission, set your
Travel.
goals, have habits,
Yeah.
have expectations so that when you get married, you are the best version of yourself. And in order to do that, you have to be selfish with your time, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you
It's like
have
when you
to,
get to focus on you. It's when you're the
yes,
richest in your life because all your money
yes,
is yours. Like,
yes.
and then obviously when you get
And your
married,
time. I
yeah.
think time is way harder than money.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the one resource that is limited. We don't know how much we have,
Right.
when it's running out, and it's all limited.
And another good, my poor mom, like she grew up she did not have a lot of money in her home growing up with 10 kids. And so she taught us to, things don't matter. Things don't matter. People do. Relationships do. The gospel does. And so that was kind of like my go-to. So, when I would see my mom, my dad is an amputee. He had bone cancer at
I
the age of
forget that.
18. So his leg was amputated above the knee. And so I would see my mom putting the lights on the house for Christmas. I would see my mom, you know, doing yard work or whatever. And we would always say, Mom, you shouldn't be on the ladder. And well, I'm not going to have your dad do it, one legged. And she would do things that most, not that my dad was helpless because he did a ton of things, but she would do things that a lot of women wouldn't because the man would step up and do that. But she's like, he has one leg. I'm not going to have him do that. And
It's
she'd get up and,
dangerous.
yeah. And so I would always give that same excuse to the petitioner. I would say, oh, but he, if he would lose his temper with me or forget my birthday, forget an anniversary, not have courtesy in helping me do something. And not to say that I'm not as guilty doing, I'm just as guilty, I'm sure, doing the same things. But I always gave him an excuse. Well, he was an orphan and he didn't know any better and he didn't have parents and he didn't learn this. And I had a home where I had a mom and dad and a secure attachment. And
Which those are all true.
right, right.
That, like, I think it's really good to give people the benefit of the doubt.
And I
It's
did.
really good to see that in them.
But the problem is that so many women who are abused, and I'm not saying like, I'm not alluding that I'm abused. I mean, I think I was abused in several different ways. But anytime I talk about that, please don't assume that that's what I'm saying. But a lot of women give too much benefit of the doubt. And I had a therapist say to me, because I kept saying to her, like, yeah, but he didn't know. And how was he to know that he was, you know, yelling or speaking too loudly when he would say, this is Nigerian culture. And she would say to me, Julie, his issues are not his excuses. Like, stop making excuses for him. Stop saying that because of his upbringing and his childhood, he is a grown man. He has the ability to get, find healing and get the help he needs. His issues are not his excuses. And she would make me repeat it. But there are so many women that grow up in our church that forgive and forget and let it go and forgive 70 times 7 and take the blame and apologize first. And I did every single one of those things. And that is the beginning of the end for the woman and her dreams and her ambitions and her desires, because she devotes her whole self to him and loses herself in the process.
Which you're, as a married couple, you should both devote yourselves to each other.
Yes.
And then you don't get lost because you're serving each other. The problem is not devoting yourself to the other person. It's when it's one-sided and you don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to recognize where he came from and why he was there, but then also to recognize that it doesn't make abuse okay. And when we talk about abuse, we're not talking about, you know, bloody,
Getting
gory
punched in the
stuff.
face.
No, we're
Yeah.
talking, I mean, emotional abuse is real. Financial abuse is real. These are like the forms of abuse. I almost think that a woman would rather be
Oh, they
physically
all say it
assaulted.
because you can see it.
Yes.
It's like being, in the first trimester of pregnancy where you're vomiting and you are sick as a dog, but there's nothing to show for it. And people are like, what's wrong with her? Like,
And you're
suck it
not
up.
actually like really supposed to talk about it in a lot of cultures because what if you
Mm-hmm.
miscarry? And
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? It's like this
And
quiet,
it's like
you
when you
suffer in
need
silence.
the most support.
Exactly.
And it's the
Yes.
same with emotional abuse. It's the same with all forms of abuse except physical.
Yeah. There's spiritual abuse.
Yes, there's religious abuse. There is
Yes.
legal abuse, psychological abuse, and that's 5 different podcasts that we can bring in some experts for. But in the end of all this, I think it's safe to say that he saw a means, he saw supply.
Allegedly.
Yes. I mean, I think that now. I didn't think that then, but I had a condo. I had um, I had ambition. I was working jobs. I had citizenship.
I mean,
I had a car.
part of me says, you, of course he did. Like, if you're coming from a place of scarcity,
Mm,
it is going to be attractive to find somebody that's in a place of abundance.
yeah.
He's not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was actually really smart to go after
Thank you. That's
I
a
mean,
compliment.
I really, any man should have been like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So
Because we were always told, like, even I was told, maybe don't buy a house because then you're going to make your husband feel intimidated, or the man you're dating, he'll be intimidated by you.
really,
Yeah.
my
I got
dad would have
told
been
that.
like, way to go.
Yeah. I mean, but maybe that was just Utah.
I have no idea.
Because also we were taught to get a degree, not to so much further your knowledge and education, but get a degree to fall back on in case your husband
Well,
dies.
I was taught get a degree, not necessarily because you need a career if you get married, but to be a good mom. Was
Mm.
that not the thing? I mean, I've been taught my whole life, and actually, the data shows that educated, smart moms are the best moms.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. It makes complete sense because
You pass it on to your
I saw
kids.
that in Paraguay when these poor people have no education and families are suffering out there in a lot of different ways. But I was to get, I mean, I assumed what's the word,
Internalized.
internalized that getting a degree was just so that I could fall back on it to then get a full-time job if my husband were to die. But I did not account for
8 children.
8 children, nor the husband leaving the entire marriage, because I didn't even get to benefit from life insurance.
That sounds so morbid.
It does sound so bad, but it is a thought, and it's just the truth. Like mothers who have lost their husbands, and not to say that the ward has not helped me, because they have drastically. My bishop and stake president have been amazing, and family and friends. But for someone whose husband has died, it is the outpouring for months. And this poor family, but if a woman is divorced, if people don't know how, it's always, oh well, there's 2 sides to every story. Well, we don't know
People
what really
feel like
went
they
on.
have to take sides.
Yeah, we don't know what went on behind closed doors, and it takes 2 to tango, and it's really the children that suffer. But really, he has died. To me, there's been a death for me too. He has died overnight. We're grieving someone who's still alive, and we don't get the same, I hate to say, luxuries or benefits or privileges as a wife who has lost her husband tragically to death. But it does feel the same. We're just treated differently. So to all those single mamas
worse.
out there, yeah.
Okay, but it's actually worse if you think about it, because not only are you grieving a death of somebody who's not gone,
and someone that you still love.
yes,
there are parts of me that still love and miss him.
And you're not, I mean, that's a whole different topic too, a whole
Mm-hmm.
different podcast. But now you're also having to come to grips with the term that, or with the reality that he's not just alive, he's fighting you and actively making your life harder.
Yeah.
Actively trying to, I mean, I think
that's why people say that divorce is harder than death, because not only has he died, but now I wasn't going to say this, but now his like corpse is out. He's like a walker from The Walking Dead. He's out to get me.
so, it's Halloween, guys. We're getting dark
we're
here.
a week away from Halloween.
But to me, it's like you talk about having a net positive coming from life insurance or whatever. To me, it's the fact that every, let's say this. So you hear a lot of times that people will die, they leave their money to their kids, and then their kids squander it in court,
Yeah.
right? Any net positive that you would have had as a mom to raise these kids has been spent in court.
Yeah.
That, so not only is he gone, you are husbandless, you are a widow, but now you're a widow that is fighting for your life and losing every financial
Mm-hmm.
resource. And I mean, I have said to Julie a time or two, where the hell are the people in your life?
Yeah.
I have said that very
She has.
angrily to her because things will be happening. I'm like, I want to solve all the problems I can't. Where is this community? And Julie has said, it has been 3 years.
Yeah.
That like everybody's tired. She's tired, and everybody who's been around is tired because
Yeah.
it is a long time.
Everyone's fatigued. Everyone's over it. Everyone is asking, you're still in it? And here we are on Christmas number 4, where like,
It's unbelievable.
I need help, but can't ask because I've had 3 sub for Santas. I've had families step in and take care of Christmas. I've had the ward step in and give me Amazon gift cards and from stores, and I've had groceries come in. Like, they're done. And I don't blame them. They don't want to be like, again, she needs Christmas again for 8 kids. Like, let's spread the wealth because you've had it 3 years in a row. Granted, it's from different companies, different families, and different people, but I'm not going to like go put myself out there saying, I need Christmas help because people have helped.
Yeah, it's not that people aren't helping, it's that there's no end in sight.
Mm-hmm.
It's because everybody is so tired, but everybody can walk away except for you.
Yeah.
It's like everybody needs a breather, so they're going to step away for a minute, but you're still left here wondering who's my next resource.
And yes, who's my next supply, for heaven's sakes? I'm like, am I the narcissist? What's happening?
It's hard because you have needs, but it's not about you. It's never actually about Julie's needs. It's always like when I got married, I lived second by second, minute to minute, all the things, right? And my mother-in-law would ask in like, it felt like February, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, I can't think that far. And now I appreciate how far ahead she thinks. It's taught me a lot. But when I think about birthdays, I have 4 kids and I think about 8.
I have a birthday a month, and I have one birthday in December. And I'm like, oh, suck. I have to do her birthday and Christmas like 2 weeks later. And
it's so much.
I've got a birthday November 25th and October 29th. And this year and I must preface by saying, I'm not saying this because women in my situation don't even want to talk about it because we don't want to make people feel obligated. So if we say, I don't have anything to get my kid something for their birthday, and then people feel like they have to reach out, and you don't want to put them in these situations that they're uncomfortable with.
You don't want to feel like you're being passive aggressive.
No.
And manipulating people into doing
you
stuff.
You feel stupid already.
But it's so hard. It's like planning 8 birthdays and then Christmas and Valentine's Day and Easter.
Yeah.
All the things. It's so freaking much. And then to know that you're all by yourself doing it, it's really hard for me to watch. And I came into this situation, 2 years into it, really, or 3 years, you know what I mean? Like, you've had all these people helping you for a long time, and I step in, I'm like, wait, where is everybody? Where's the cavalry? We need the cavalry.
Yeah, they're over it. And they're not. They're still thoughtful and caring, but well, we helped you last year with Christmas. I mean, and moms out there everywhere who understand this, we don't even want to think about Christmas. We dread the holidays. We dread the birthdays. We aren't the mom that we wanted to be. We become the mom and the dad, and carrying the load of 2 people. And so not only did they lose one parent, they lost the other as well. They lose their mom too, and then we are what's the word? Deprecating. That's the word. Desecrating probably too, right? Just self-defecating. Let's just use all 3. Because seriously, we're crapping our pants half the time we're thinking about the upcoming holidays and oh my heck, what are we gonna do? So anyway, I wanted to thank all of those that have helped for Sub for Santas and with financial scholarships for certain charities and foundations, whether I received them or not. Like, there are people that are doing good things, and those that serve. I just got $500 in the mail, anonymous, cash.
You
I
did?
did like 3 days ago. I was like, oh my gosh, which will help me pay for Kenya's birthday because she's turning 8. And 8 is a big birthday
Yes.
in Utah and for members of the church because she gets to get baptized. And it's the like maybe I do 3 birthdays their whole lives. When they turn 8, when they turn 13, and when they turn 16. And that's it. And so I need to throw her a birthday party and
Mhm.
invite friends and then pay for it all. So thank you to the sweet soul who sent that in a white envelope inside of a white piece of paper. Like I have no, but that has happened all throughout. So I don't want to make it sound like I haven't received because I
No,
have.
you get help. It's just, listen, like you're in charge of 9 people.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've tried ever since I've known Julie to think of ways to earn money.
Yeah.
She like doesn't ever sleep because she's earning money and working hard and doing all the things. She does 12 jobs all at once. She's doing all that she can. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
You
It's
weren't
not.
meant to do it by yourself. You need a community. And
And it's a whole other podcast because people are like, well, pull your kids out of their expensive sports. Oh, well, she's a YouTuber. She must make millions. And I'm like, this is laughable.
did
I'm
I
not.
my favorite comment from somebody I know when I was telling them that I was going to help you, they were like, "Oh, she was living a $3 or $4 million house in Alpine," and I was like, "Oh yeah, if only."
Because
I
they just
mean,
assume.
people just assume. That's right.
I would love to show people how much these YouTube videos actually make. I mean, one is making $2 a month, one video, and another video is making 34 cents a month. When I broke my wrist, and you've seen it with the 10 cents
Yes.
that we have made, thank you to all of
I think
you.
it's like 37
We
cents.
have made, I think, a total of 44 cents
Oh,
on
we're at
this podcast.
44 now.
Yes. Because I don't even know if an ad plays, but I think an ad plays on this podcast, and we got paid 44 cents for that in total. Psych. Sorry for that abrupt interruption. The storage on my phone is always full, and so we always get interrupted because it stops recording. So if you're watching or listening, I am in my kitchen finishing up kind of where we left off, and I just have 2 things to say. Number one, well, 3 things. Thank you for supporting this kind of brand new podcast. Thank you for the comments and the questions that do come in. We do want to ask if there is any missed red flags that maybe you missed in your relationship or didn't quite catch or see. We would love to hear about them. Maybe they'll make me feel better about myself, but you can text us. Just click the link at the bottom of the podcast or the description in the video, and you can tell us some red flags that you missed. Maybe they weren't quite so red. Maybe they were a little bit orange, at the time and have over time become like burgundy red. And the other thing I wanted to say was that we have a website where you can go and donate to our Christmas fund for solo moms that are in my position because it is hard to ask, especially when you've had help for so many years. And people are fatigued and they don't know what else to do or how else to help you because they want to start, I'm sure, sharing with other people. And we hate to be the ones that are, you know, the reason someone else isn't served. So I will hand deliver this money. I'm trying to raise $10,000 uh, for a few families that are in need, whose fathers have left and who where mothers have a lot of kids and a lot of need and don't have child support coming in or any kind of help for that matter, or have received the help and can't continue to ask. So please consider donating to that, or you can support the show. Everything goes back into this podcast that we're trying to build. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.